next speaker also listen to this. Uncle Muhammad Bhyat is from Ermelo, experienced entrepreneur with a demonstrated history of working in the retail fuels, retail convenience and franchise quick service restaurant industry. And he'll give you the brand names. He'll talk to you about the further experiences include acquisition and development of commercial, retail and medium cost residential real estate. So from fuel to convenience stores, to quick service restaurants, is also into real estate. I mean, these are people who should write books about their experience, because the day they not go here, who's going to carry the message across? Right? Skilled in negotiation, budgeting, business planning, mentoring, and out-of-the-box sales strategies. I think I need to go and spend some time in Mpumalanga, seriously. Highly focused on investing in potential, strong development experience and modeling to triplicate both people and financial values. Did you listen to that? It's not just about financial values. I can show you so many companies where it's always profits before people. It's always about profits before people. But if you're not investing in people and uplifting the people, especially in a society where we have so many have-nots versus the haves, there's something not right. He says, and this is his words, that no degrees, but he's got a Bachelor of BTA, Bachelor of Thinking Ahead. Did you hear that? Right? He's a founder of the Giving Hands charity, where over 30,000 families were provided with meals during the 2020 hard lockdown. He's an avid golfer, juggling between paddle and golf. He's an ex-member of Ermelo Muslim Jamaat, ex-member of Ermelo Chamber of Commerce, ex-member, why exes? They fired you. Of the Ermelo Golf Club. Jazakallah so much, Uncle Muhammad. Please come and share with us. This is brilliant. Well done. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Respected sisters, mothers, respected brothers. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil kareem. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I'm very comfortable, really. It's a very comfortable, I was going to say warm morning, but it's reaching into the afternoon, alhamdulillah. When you have fun, time flies, right? It's an absolute honor and a privilege to be addressing such a young and dynamic audience this afternoon. Dynamic, each of you are. If you're not, you will be, inshallah. Each of you possess the ability to transform our social, political, economical, we can go on, but social, political, economical landscapes of today and tomorrow. You are, each of you guys are the today and the tomorrow. As Uncle Ismail mentioned earlier, you're on borrowed time at the moment. You're like, Pastor was here by late. Transformation or change, it's not easy. But it's always for the better. No matter what, it's always for the better. You are the future of your positive change. You can shape your future through your thinking and your abilities. I want to indulge you or engage you on a concept that has the power to change our lives for the better, with less pressure and sukoon, inner peace. Ever heard of the saying, why work harder when you can work smarter? Or simply put, work efficiently, not excessively. Barakah, also known as blessings, and favors of Allah via unseen ways that bring prosperity, abundance, growth, empowerment, and goodness into our lives in everything we think of doing. From money matters to that 2-hour marathon exam paper that you have, to the power nap. In all of that, we need Barakah. Because what's a power nap without Barakah? What's a 2-hour paper if you don't have Barakah? You can smash that paper in under 2 hours if it's full of Barakah. But what is Barakah? We get to it now. Barakah is the divine favor that Allah bestows upon us, increasing the value and the quality in whatever we do exponentially. It's the blessing that makes our resources stretch further. Our relationships grow stronger. Our hearts and inner self more content. I have been introduced, but I'll introduce myself again. My name is Muhammad Bhyat. Alhamdulillah, I am where I am today because when I reflect, I can share with you the fundamentals in my growth path. From being younger than some of you guys, being a teenager, to today, and inshallah to tomorrow. All by the plan and the mercy of Allah. So, from my teen years, I always had a flair for, we can't really recall our teen years. You guys should make notes because when you get to our age, you may not remember these years. So I can't really recall my teen years, but I remember having a flair for doing business. And I was fortunate that my dad was an ex-pharmacist. So I had access to his resources or his suppliers. It has helped me a great deal.
So you made your money drug dealing.
Eh?
Drug dealing.
I didn't even think about it. So in my high school years, I used to sell. You guys make this brenna? You guys make the brenna?
Yeah, right.
Ray-Ban. Right? This was kind of the only shades back in the 90s. Right? Okay. I did my high schooling in the 80s into the 90s. So I used to sell Ray-Bans, perfumes, and later on I even introduced men's fashion wear into my catalog, amongst buddies. This income generally helped me with additional holiday spending, and from time to time it allowed me to be the boss. You know, I could guys, it's on me. But today, I'd like to say it's on me with a different intention, for the pleasure of Allah. Back then, it was like to, you guys know what I'm talking about. They show you the door, like you're the boss, you the man. No problem with that, because remember, that heart, that wanting to be the boss and spending and taking care of the tab, is also a seed that's getting planted, a seed that's starting, that will eventually become an attitude in your personality that will be an offshoot towards generosity. And we'll discuss that further. I had chosen to study BCom accounts, and I did my studies through UNISA, and at the same time, in early schooling years, I assisted my father in the pharmacy, so I was quite acquainted and kind of left matric, or finished matric, got into doing my BCom degree. At the same time, they left. My father and mother were hard workers. They were in the pharmacy with no break ever in their lives. And I was like, you guys need to go on a holiday. Go on a break. They went for Umrah. When they came back, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks' time, I had improvised changes in the business. Didn't introduce new things, but I had introduced changes. So what my dad was doing, I either took on or I empowered somebody else to do it. So when he came back, he didn't have to do everything he was doing. Not my thinking, or not my akal. This wisdom, I believe, was from Allah. As I said, I was studying BCom, and I took it upon to spend time in the pharmacy, to take over the business from an administration point of view, to a point that the only thing that I was short of was having a pharmacy degree. I could literally read a script. I knew the terminologies in the script. If anybody knows about it, TDS 3 times a day, BD twice a day, AC before meals, PC after meals, complete the course. I could read a prescription from the neatest to the untidiest in writing. So I could do the dispensing, even and with computer aided technology. I don't know what's it like now, but I'm talking 20, 30 years ago. Even the contraindications that would come up, the computer would flag. This patient is allergic to penicillin. You're dispensing an antibiotic that contains penicillin. Amoxicillin contains penicillin. Amoxicillin is a penicillin. So now, if this patient is allergic to penicillin, the system would tell you that. But I didn't have a degree. I didn't have the pharmacy degree. But it's not the point of my my memo this morning or this afternoon. My real journey started one day when, in the month of Ramadan, when the local Jamaat collector came to the pharmacy. He walked past my desk. I had a little desk. He walked past my desk, went to my father to collect his annual contribution. When he walked on his way back, I addressed him and had a bit of a conversation. And I gave him my first pledge. I said, I pledge monthly, I will give X amount to the Jamaat. I'm saying this is when my real journey started. At this point in time, I'm using the word we, and you're welcome to ask me later on in a question if you wish to know why I'm using the word we. We had pledged about 10% of my net income. So if my net income was 10,000 rand, I pledged 1,000 rand, right? Within a few months, oh yes, what I forgot to tell you is, while I was in the pharmacy, I was like almost feeling like a pharmacist, because from time to time we would be mixing creams and mixing ointments or whatever the case may be. So I was quite experimental, and I ended up not developing a cosmetic range of my own, but I ended up starting a cosmetic range, a day and a night cream. That was a sideline business. That sideline business I can only attribute it to this 10% of income that I started giving to the Jamaat on a monthly basis. That sideline business experienced growth month to month. I saved towards investments, went for Hajj in 1997 I went for Hajj. I went for Hajj when I was 23 years old with my own money. Alhamdulillah. And accumulated enough savings to look at investing in a larger income generating business. Don't ask me about my BCom accounting degree. Right? Because
Kind of faded away.
that fell off in terms of time. I just couldn't make the time. But we planned, Allah plans. And Allah planned, and really Allah planned for us to be in a different business, which eventually resulted in more businesses than I had ever planned for or ever dreamt of. Where I had a total employment workforce of just over 600 people. Now remember, employing as many people is also a great ni'mah. It's a great bounty. It's a blessing. Right? It comes with its challenges, but it's ideally a blessing. Because each and every person working for you comes with their own rizq, comes with their own sustenance, comes with their own decree, which Allah has planned for you to be a chaperone or an ambassador or a shepherd for. So indirectly, your rizq, your rozi, your sustenance is taken care of because you've scaled this business, you've got so many people working for you, and their dependence in a pyramid scheme, there's not many people on top, right? It's like you're waiting for one or two people to die so you can fill that spot, but there's many people at the bottom. If you look at a pyramid, on the top, those people at the bottom, you actually are being supported by those people at the bottom. Because if you think the other way, that you're supporting those few, if you're the few on the top, and you think you supporting and looking after these people at the bottom, then you've got it all wrong. You may be writing the check, but you're writing the check, or you, in today's day, not writing the check, you're processing the EFT because of the work that's taking place by the workforce at the bottom. So, I cannot and I will not take credit for my own success. My credit goes to my management, my staff, even your suppliers. Your suppliers, there's an interdependent relationship between buyer and supplier. You're a buyer. Would there be a buyer? Would there be a buyer if there's no supplier? Would there be a supplier if there's no buyer? So, if the supplier is doing something wonderful, there's a buyer. For that buyer to continue buying, the supplier is going to be doing something wonderful. So if the whole chain is doing something wonderful, we're keeping this ball, we're keeping the circle flowing, we're keeping the ball rolling. I'm hoping you guys are getting the drift here. So, something else comes to mind, right? And I'm just going to share this with you guys. In context, out of context, I'm hoping I can bring it into context. So we were leaving Medina on a flight out of Medina, where our departure time would have been just about iftar time. It was the Ramadan, right? It was the Ramadan, and we were leaving Medina iftar time. So the wife and I said, okay, we're going to buy some khajur for ourselves because you're going to get food in the flight. We bought khajur and we bought a little bit extra khajur for the people around us. You know, like people sitting next to you, you're going to offer them khajur. And as we bought the flight, and before the flight is about to take off, there's a man that comes from the back of the aircraft with a box of khajur. He walks through the aircraft with a box of khajur, giving khajur to all the other passengers. Now, there's a lesson in here. I thought, for myself, my wife, for the passengers around me, this man didn't think about, he thought for the aircraft. So, when we think, we need to not limit our thinking, we need to stretch our thinking. When we give, we need to stretch our giving. Because when we stretch our giving, our receiving will also be stretched. And you guys will, I'm hoping at the end of my delivery, you'll be able to put this into context. That my intention or our intention for giving dates around the people, the khajur to the people that were sitting around us, Allah has said, to do one, I'll give you 10. But if we had given 100 dates on the day, my 100 would have been 1,000 in mathematics. 1 times 10, 100 times 10. But that man that walked from the back of the aircraft, and if he gave out 1,000 dates, multiply that 1,000 by a 10. That's 10,000. Where's 10,000 and where's 1,000? In scales. The point I'm trying to make is that as long as you are committed to giving, you will always be the giver. Would you prefer to be the giving hand or the receiving hand? Do you ever want to be a receiving hand? So as long as you're the giver, you can't be both. What? You have to have an identity. You're a boy or a girl. There's no ifs and buts. So you want to be a giver, you can't be a giver and a receiver. If you want to be the giving hand, then Allah will keep you the giving hand. But then you need to use the opportunity of increasing your giving hand. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ibrahim, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you are grateful, I will add more. And he goes further on to say, وَلَئِن كَفَرْتُمْ إِنَّ أَذَابِ لَشَدِيدٌ. But if you show ingratitude, truly, my punishment is terrible indeed. This is in Surah Al-Ibrahim. So now, how do we attract barakah? We've identified to explore 4 ways. If you guys want to do this as part of your exercise, you're welcome to drop down 4 columns. Put taqwa as a column, as a header to a column. Gratitude and generosity. Sabr and dua. Firstly, what is taqwa? Living a life of righteousness and consciousness of Allah is the foundation of attracting barakah. When we prioritize our relationship with Allah, He blesses us with His favors. We use all resources available to us to expand our knowledge. We collaborate and consult with the learned, the experienced, and the best that's available to us. We attend workshops like this. We use all resources, including AI, internet, and the positivity of social media to empower ourselves to grow this bond of taqwa with our beloved Creator. The second point being gratitude and generosity. Practicing gratitude and appreciation for what we already have opens the doors for more blessings. Focus on the good in your life and Allah will increase it. Take time each day to reflect on the blessings and the bounties that you've received. No matter how small they are. It may seem small today, but tomorrow when it's gone, you'll not be able to replace that small. So, I'm going to bore you. I was in a quad bike accident at the end of January this year. I was concussed. I had amnesia for about 13 hours. So, everybody knows what that means. I wasn't in a panic, but my wife and family were. Because I was there, but not there. 13 hours later, when I got up, okay, my wife asked me a whole lots of questions. I don't know how many of them I answered correctly. But that falling, for me, I made shukr. When I heard what happened, when I seen the motorbike, when I spoke to my friends, and I made shukr that I didn't forget my arms and wrists and knees and limbs, but even this little finger. I mean, I was grazed all over. I was sore, but I didn't even break a finger. Because right now, I can't put a value to this pinky finger. But if I don't have it, then I'll realize how valuable it is. Then even writing, holding a pen, doing basic stuff becomes difficult. So we don't realize the value of something until we don't have it. So making shukr on a daily basis for the bounties that Allah has bestowed upon us, many or few, important or unimportant, we must make shukr on it. Being generous and giving others without expecting anything in return invites barakah. When we share our resources, Allah multiplies them. Remember, generosity is not just about giving money. It's also about giving your time, your skills, expertise, and kindness. Kindness, everyone in this room, what does it cost to be kind? How many of us want to, I think we spoke about America earlier, how many of us want to wear the American flag? If I was to ask you the American flag or the Yemeni flag, guys, which one? The Yemeni flag, of course. Right? Who would you consider as having more money? USA or Yemeni?
USA.
So what do we extract from this two?
Money and everything.
Aha! Wealth doesn't mean respect. Wealth doesn't mean success. Because what we perceive America to be, on the one hand, wealthy, but we have no respect for them. Or we do not aspire to be like them. Being human, being modest, being humble is priority in being successful. So being associated with the homeless, starving children of Palestine is greater than being associated with the arrogant, barbaric mongerers of Israel. Alright? You'd rather be that Palestinian orphan with nothing than being that arrogant Israeli. Wealth with arrogance is not success. I don't have my wallet on me. And see, where am I looking for my wallet? Where am I looking for my wallet?
Pockets.
Hey?
Pockets.
Back pocket. If your wallet stays in your back pocket, it's fine. That's the place for it. When it comes up here, that's the recipe for disaster, distraction. We've seen generations, we can relate to communities where empires have fallen because of that attitude. How expensive can it be to be kind? We are showered with opportunities to show our kindness daily. A simple thing like making salam. A simple thing like making assalamu alaikum with people you know, and more with people you don't know. Younger, and I'm not saying just elder than you, even younger than you. If I'm walking towards a door and there's a bunch of youngsters, who's supposed to make the salam? Hey? No. I'm walking towards a door. I'm approaching them. They're in a group. Is the salam only left for them? It's an opportunity for me to be kind to them. Salam is not about always using the Islamic terminology, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In the morning when you guys come to the breakfast nook, for those that have their breakfast prepared, I'm sure the helper is in the home. Do you wait for her to greet you? You've entered her space. What stops you from saying good morning? Whatever her name is. Good morning, Auntie Margaret. Good morning, Sithle. He may be the guy working in the garden. So, when we bring this positivity of salam, of greeting into our life, we're encouraging positivity. We're exchanging du'as between parties. Our kindness by greeting the helper or by greeting anybody else, we're not limiting our kindness to Muslims. It needs to be everywhere where we are present. And salam is one example. So, from the sports field, to our social life, to our places of studies, we are Muslims and humble beings wherever we are. That humility cannot be replaced with arrogance in the areas I've mentioned. The sports field, social functions, schools, universities, wherever you are. Why do I say sports field? I was talking to the guys earlier, the Heidelberg guys, tennis players, Sure, earlier pedal being the fastest growing sport. Lots of lots of pedal players here. But even in this audience, it is a professional sportsman. Is anybody playing professional sport here? Anybody? Even if you were, even if the likes of Mbappe or Ronaldo, whoever it may be, was in this crowd, if we ask them in their 1 hour of play or in their weekly play, how many hours of play do they play competitively? It's about 90 minutes. But how many hours do they play in the week? Maybe 900 minutes. So in a clock, if you were to sum that into an hourly clock, there's probably about 5 minutes that you're playing competitively as a professional footballer. There's no professional footballers here. There's no professional sportsmen here. So in the sports side, how can we be kind on the sports field? You serve me an ace. What stops me from telling you, great serve?
Ego.
Ah, ego. Who stimulates ego? Who feeds ego? What is ego? What's another word for ego?
Pride.
What's another word for pride?
Nerves.
Jealousy. What does it do? Does it foster brotherhood? Does it foster love? Manashaki spoke about brotherhood earlier in the Deen team. Brotherhood. So now in sports, a simple great serve, a great shot. What are you doing? Firstly, you're showing you're not a poor loser. Yeah, you've been served an ace. Great serve, guy. What a serve. You've stopped Shaitan in his tracks from telling you anything else. Or for that matter, forget the serve. In a social space, or maybe even on the sports field, I come on with new sneakers, or for the ladies, I've got a new handbag. The fact that I recognize it, the fact that I've recognized my friend with a new handbag, or a new apparel, or new boots, or whatever it may be, or a new racket, the fact that I've recognized it, Shaitan's going to pound. He's going to whisper. He's going to bring an element of jealousy. How do you stop this? How do you counter him? Before he can even bring it forward. I love your shoes. You don't have to even go to that point. What a beautiful handbag. MashaAllah. MashaAllah, what a beautiful handbag. Using the word MashaAllah, Maulana can elaborate more on using that word MashaAllah. How much are you taking away? Even MashaAllah, I noticed one of the guys with a cap, he was looking quite snazzy. I was going to tell him MashaAllah, but he walked away like, you're looking cool. So, when we use studies, right? How many people can come out? How many people are you worried about? Are you worried about who beats you in your exam? Is it important who beats you? Is it important that what you know and you share, that you're going to become less? Do you think by you sharing with your friend on what you know in terms of your academic know-how, you may be very good at a certain section of your curriculum, or you may be very good at a certain subject. If you share what you know so that you can make your fellow, your friend or your fellow students work easier, lighter, Do you think you are becoming less by empowering that person further? You are becoming more. Because who's the inspirer of wisdom? Who's the inspirer? I read Rabbi Shrah li Sadri. Uncle Harun mentioned Rabbi Zidni Ilma earlier. Who's the inspirer of knowledge? I spoke about stretching your resources. Stretching your resources is not stretching your credit card or stretching your checkbook. I don't think you guys can relate to the checkbook. But stretching your thinking capacity. When you're an entrepreneur, you need to be able to stretch your thinking capacities. That thinking capacity is not always related to business. Today it's a business issue. It may be business, but you have an employee in your business that's subject to domestic violence, that's come to work beaten up. You need to be a counselor to that employee. How can you be this multi-skilled person? You can only be when Allah inspires you. So now we learn that being selfish, we learn that giving compliments, recognizing others, sharing what we know with our friends is a means and a way to break shaitan's back, to tell shaitan, bugger off. And it's a mechanism to attract Barakah. Your gratitude and generosity is an attitude that will become a habit. It never goes unnoticed. Wallahi, it never goes unnoticed. Because Allah notices it. Allah will compensate you generously from His treasures according to His wisdom. Allah knows the perfect time. And the third point, sabr. So everybody here wants to, depending on your age, you have different wants and needs. And I'm sure you guys know the difference between wants and needs. Wants are what you must have. Needs are what you can possibly like to, love to have. You don't need to have it, you know what I mean? You guys know what I'm talking about. You need a pedal racket, it must be a Babolat, the one that LeBron uses. But that's the one I need. No, Daddy, that's the one I want. Because, or it must be, comes to, not saying you should not aspire to have the best. Why not? Make dua for the best. Be specific in your duas. In fact, when you guys get later in life, make specific dua. Uncle Harun was talking about that wife, talking about the husband. Ask for the perfect. Ask Allah for everything that you want, specifically. And Allah will give it to you. You want a wife with blue eyes? Ask Allah for a wife with blue eyes, because if you don't, you could get one with eyes that you don't really love and like. You know what I mean? So you ask for what you want. You ask Allah specifically for what you want. So, coming back to the sabr, Allah knows the perfect timing. Allah in His wisdom will release. I'm digressing again this morning, and I'm just thinking about it now. This morning, my wife made me sunny side, right? So I have a habit of breaking the yolk so it gets all over my egg, and then I add my seasoning, salt, pepper, chili. And when I was dispensing the salt, I had to close the bottle so that only one or half of that hole is open. And I said, I thought about it immediately that imagine if Barakah was in our hands. Imagine if planning was in our hands. Would we not be dispensing too much salt? Can you imagine food with too much salt? Lousy, right? Can you imagine food with too much chili? Yeah, it does happen. So when the difficulties do come, it's like that extra chili. Right? So I'm using the egg, the fried egg example here, topping or seasoning a fried egg. But that chili in our lives, Allah has put that test, Allah has put that difficulty so that when I cycled as well, and I'm now relating to cycling, that after every uphill, there's a downhill. And on a downhill, you don't have to work as a cyclist. Okay, running is a different game, right? But that uphill, you're just looking and you're talking to yourself and you're motivating yourself and you just want to get through the hill. But you know that when you get to the top of the hill and if you've ridden the route before, then you even know how fast the downhill is going to be and how you can really take a breather on the downhill. But Allah knows perfectly when certain things are good for you. So when we make a dua, when we wish somebody well in a compliment, a student, and I'm going just a little bit back, a student when he's, be it grade 12, right? Most matriculants, you ask them, what are you guys going to do? No, I don't know. Like, guys, we bloody knew what we were going to do or what we wanted to do when we were at high school, in grade 7 already. We knew what we wanted to do. We never did it, but we knew what we wanted to do. And here you're in grade 12, you don't know what you're going to do. But okay, whatever is best for you, whatever is best for you, whatever is good for you. And that dua is enough. Because if Allah blesses you with whatever is good for you, Allah will give you the M3 when you've done the advanced driving skid pen, you've done the hairpin, you've done the apex, if I'm using right, the terminologies. You know when to, how to, and that's driving an M3, that's a V8, I don't know how many horsepowers, but it's a motor vehicle that needs responsibility. And we know there's a lot of 19, 18, 19-year-olds driving it. But alhamdulillah, some of them are under the protection of Allah, and some of them not. We've heard of incidences. So, again, I wish you guys all drive M3s, all you guys drive all of you guys drive, maybe M3 is what I know, maybe you guys have got aspirations for Lambos and Ferraris, but whatever is best for you, may Allah give you that. Because I don't know what's best, you don't know what's best, you think you know what's best, but Allah knows what's best. So sabr is very important. In the barakah, you have to make sabr. Because when you stop making sabr, and listen to this carefully, guys. When we stop making sabr, we indirectly, subconsciously, start to question the situation. And in questioning, what do? We show ingratitude. Remember the ayat I read earlier? لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ? That if we show ingratitude, what are we doing? We're attracting, we're distracting barakah. We're not attracting barakah. And lastly, the fourth point, dua. You know, Allah is your buddy. Allah is your brother. If you can't talk to your brother, then he's not your brother. Right? Why do I say Allah is your brother? Because even if you're not talking to Allah as in physical speech, when you put your head down in sajda, those thoughts that run through your head, the fears, the concerns, whatever it may be, Allah knows, Allah is aware of it. And it's the fact that it's going through your head and it's between you and Allah at that moment in time. That's your closest buddy. Allah is but. He is everything good. If you take the 99 names of Allah, it doesn't talk of Him as a punisher. It doesn't talk of Him as a destroyer. It doesn't talk of Him as a... Allah is most loving, most merciful, most gracious. Everything that's positive, most radiating. Everything that's positive. So, when we make our dua, we make sincere and consistent dua to Allah at the most blessed times, and this will attract barakah in our lives too. Ask Allah for His favors, and He will grant them. Remember, dua is not just asking for things. It's also about building a relationship with Allah. Because you can ask Allah once, you can ask Him twice, thrice, and like, hey, my dua is not getting answered. Allah knows when, because Allah loves you more than your mother loves you. Allah will give you when the time is right. Allah will not give you because it's not good for you. That M3 wasn't good for you. Maybe it's not good in a blue color, it's probably good in the purple color. So it will come in the right color. And I'm not an M3 fan, right? But I'm just using M3 as an example. More importantly, we need to learn to respect, love ourselves. Respect yourself. Love yourself first. Respect your space first. If you respect your space, you'll be able to respect other people's spaces. If you love yourself, you'll be able to love other people. But if you don't love yourself, how will you know what's love? If you can't respect yourself, how are you going to respect others? Because later in life, inshallah, not too far for some, maybe a bit far for others, you're going to share your space with your wife. And that sharing of, or that love, if you could not give it, you will not be able to give it at that point in time. That respect that you needed to give, you can't inculcate those habits in a day. Because I'm married, I need to introduce it. Solution for every problem. There's a solution to every problem. In the business world, there is no problem that a businessman is faced with that does not have a solution. Now, maybe some guys will think I'm talking bull, but when you practically in a business, then you'll realize that when you start looking at operating procedures, operating practices, and you start analyzing, and when you've got Allah's favors on you, and when Allah starts dropping these volumes of ideas and thought patterns in your head, what we call wisdom, then you'll find a solution to every problem. Maybe not today, maybe not at the instant, but with time, through consultation, through mashura, through speaking with your colleagues, through speaking to your workers, through even speaking to the cleaner in your environment. Because through Allah's inspiration, through Allah's wisdom, He'll make you speak to the most, the person that you would not consider as important. in your organization. He'll make you speak to that person, and out of that person's advice, you'll find a solution to that problem, whatever it may be. In conclusion, my dear friends, I want to leave you with a final thought. Barakah is not just a concept. It's a mindset. It's a choice to see the blessings in every moment, to trust in Allah's plans, and to strive for excellence in all you do. Remember, Barakah is not just about what you have. It's about who you are. It's about the positive energy you radiate, the love you share, and the kindness you spread. As you go forth on your journey, I urge you to embrace Barakah in every aspect of your life. May you be a source of blessings to yourself and others, and may you always remember that you are loved, you are enough, and you are worthy of achieving great things. So go out there and make your mark, but don't forget to leave a trail of Barakah behind you. The world needs more of your light, your love, and your uniqueness. My apologies, I may have taken too much of your time. Shukran. May Allah bless you all with Barakah infinitely.